Hello, hello, and welcome to this edition of the Law Firm Blueprint. I'm one of your hosts, Jay Ruane, and with me, as always, is my man, Seth Price. Seth, you've been traveling. I've been bouncing around. How have you been?
Doing well. Really had a great time with the Fisher Mastermind in Portugal, and went traveling with the Umanskis and Fishers to the Azores and Madeira. So just a wonderful couple days.
Well, that's fantastic, and I want to know more about it. I've been home. I haven't really, I haven't traveled yet. That's coming. We're doing St. Thomas, St. Martin cruise coming up in 10 days or so. But I've been going out with my kids. I took my boys to go see Wu-Tang Clan, which was amazing. I took my daughters to go see Zach Bryan. They chose which shows they wanted to see. I had enough tickets for everybody to go to all shows, but it was interesting to me. And this is a topic I want to talk about today because I think it sort of matters to us as service-based business owners, law firm business owners. So I'm at Wu-Tang Clan. It's in Newark. Crowd is definitely, my age people, wide, demographic. There's some young people there, but really it's people above 40, I think I would say. A third of the way into the show, Lauryn Hill comes out. Now, she's a North Jersey girl. She's back. She gets to do two songs, her most popular songs. Getting a chance to see Lauryn Hill live is just amazing. And obviously, she's got a connection to the band since they were Staten Island and she was in North Jersey. They came out at the same time. Then, like 10, 15 minutes later, Mary J. Blige comes out. And Mary J. Blige, if you're a Wu-Tang fan, Mary J. has a duet with Method Man.
And arguably, either of those people would sell more tickets than Wu-Tang by themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, if you put on a Lauryn Hill show in the greater New York area, I mean, she could sell out 3 nights at the Garden in 5 minutes, just because there's such a desperation to see her. So I thought it was interesting. So that was last Thursday night. Then the following night, after driving back from Jersey to Connecticut, I got back in my car and I took my wife and my daughters and one of my sons to go see Zach Bryan at MetLife, which was also a great show. Totally different audience, much younger, much younger, which makes sense. But it's interesting. He didn't have a special guest. I know Springsteen showed up one of the nights, not our night. But what he did was he has a duet that's a very popular song. He actually picked a young woman out of the pit in front of the stage, called her up on stage, and she sang the female part of the duet. And she crushed it, like unbelievably so. In fact, afterwards, he remarked, "Hey, that went a lot better than I expected." Turns out this young woman is from Point Pleasant. Her name was Ivy. If you Google Ivy Zach Bryan, you'll see a bunch of YouTube videos of her. But a bunch of young people in our section were like, we go to school with her. We know her. She's got an amazing voice. I can't believe it's her. The place was going crazy. But I just thought of it in terms of a little something extra, right? Like, I'm there to see Wu-Tang. Giving me Lauryn Hill blows my mind. A little something extra works for the crowd that they have. Zach Bryan pulls somebody up. A lot of excitement, a lot of electricity. That's something unexpected. But I tell you, all 70,000 people under 30 that were there thinking I could be that girl at the next show. And I'm just wondering, as law firm owners, what can we do that's a little something extra other than sending the client a Yeti cup with our logo on it? Because that's not
nothing.
No.
Look, I mean, each of these things, again, first of all, there's budget. It's one-on-one. It's not like you say, hey, we're going to send something to the entire crowd. But, as you say that, we're starting to do more and more. I'm going to pivot, but taking this, like, as one-on-one, pretty hard. A modest gift is about the budget and what you're going to do. Like, could you come in as Jay Ruane, the managing partner, the name on the firm, to say hello and shake hands and glad hands? Yeah, that would be sort of one of those moments, right? But at scale, we're starting to leverage, there's some technology through Salesforce, and every platform has its own thing, where we're going to be able to do the direct marketing from it, like more advanced drip campaigns that target different things. But, over the years, we've used some of our cameos. We had George Wendt on when I don't know if we launched the show or when we did some transition. And the idea is wouldn't it be cool if we could, because there, if it's going to everybody, and on things like Cameo, you can pay for a commercial use for a modest amount more. Wouldn't it be cool if you did some of those shout outs from people that might be popular to the crowd? We're often just like, hey, here's lawyer reminding you we're there if you need something. But how much cooler would it be if it was some sort of local personality or national personality?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like Johnny Damon is on Cameo, and for us, if you're a Red Sox fan or a Yankees fan in Connecticut, he played for both teams,
right?
So like that's something I could do that. But it's one of these things where it's like you want to be able to level up and do something a little extra special, because once you get to, I'm pretty proud of where we're at. Our customer service is top notch. People remark about that when they leave reviews. And I just think that, taking it to that next little level, like it's the unreasonable hospitality idea. Like they didn't bring in sand and, umbrellas for every single person in the restaurant, but they did different things for enough people that there was just this ongoing buzz.
Right. There was, but I also, think about it. If you're charging 50 grand for a DUI, you now have budget and labor for it. I mean, as much as I love that book and it's awesome and it's inspiring, I think that it needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because at scale, while you want to have those things, to do those more than as a one-off, like if you're going to pick 3 clients and do something, great. That's awesome. Right. I love it. But the fact is that unless there's a buzz, unless you're using the viral moment for more, it is almost, in a way, it is a little bit disingenuous, I would argue. If you're a fast casual restaurant, you can still do things. You can bring a family a cookie. You can, you can smile. You can do different pieces of engagement as people come through, but there's less budget. Most of the world sits where I would like to think we're better than a fast casual, but we're certainly not top 50 restaurant,
Sure.
budget with a $500 average bill that's giving you that bandwidth. And I think the piece that was mentioned in the book, but I don't think focused on enough, is unless there's a system to allow for bandwidth to do those things, something else could break if you take those steps in order to do those things.
Well, that's really interesting that you bring up systems and bandwidth, because I came up with a pretty ingenious social media marketing idea. Like I almost wish I still had.
You don't say it to yourself.
No, I've shown it to a half a dozen. I went into the studio, I cut the video and the concept, and I sent it to a few people, and they're like, "Holy shit, dude, this could be big. Like this could really be good." And I'm thinking to myself, yes, Jay of the year 2020 or 2010 would be like, "Let's do it. We're doing it." And I would start it up. It would get half-assed done. There'd be no system in place to execute it. And for the first time, I said to my team, "Hey, I think you guys all like this." And the reaction was amazing. I'm like, I think we need to hire somebody just to execute this project, because I am a quick start guy. I lose interest quickly.
You're talking 10 quick start.
Right. And it's funny because I was at a conference yesterday, and I on the train ride home, I'm sending a Slack message to my marketing person saying, "You need to get this thing done in the next 48 hours. Like, and she's like, "I have a full day the next 2 days." I'm like, "Well, find some time to do it." But so I'm actually at a point now where I think with some self reflection, I've finally said, okay, you got to put the brakes on, and you got to set up the systems in place up front and hire to execute. Otherwise, you will have a great idea that putters and falls apart. And that's one of the problems we have, I think, because we're so concerned about our day-to-day operations and the systems we need for the day-to-day operations. When we go to do something new, innovative, distinct, it may not be able to be executed by your existing people because they're in their zone, right?
Absolutely.
And then,
and there's several pieces. One, they genuinely don't have bandwidth. Second,
right.
Whenever you pull something, it can be damaging. And I think third, there's something you and I have heard. We do a whole podcast on this when you have something and somebody says, well, that wasn't what I was hired for. And again, it's a whole different direction where it's the buy-in to do it. There are times when you get buy-in, but there's other times like, I got a full plate of stuff. Now you're giving me this. And that's why when you and I go to conferences, it's always important. And I've gotten much, much better with over time of feeding it through EOS so that we're prioritizing it rather than just saying, I need this right away.
Right. Because everything for me is I need it now.
Right.
I need it now. And that's not a way to run a business.
Look, and with that, we've added bandwidth. We finally have a marketing person in place who's sort of carrying the torch beyond myself, right? We added a social media person. We just upgraded the social media person. Really wonderful young woman. But with that comes issues. We talk about systems and process. These are the things that I sort of see and I struggle with, which is just like when I buy stuff myself, I shop around. It took several iterations to get the firm to actually follow best practices when it's scaled. If it's me, it's great. If it's somebody right under me, it's great. But when that's that next person, unless there's a rule that says you must use this service or these are the approved places, which takes time to put in place, you end up with expenses. You end up with a lunch for 7 people that had a $400 chicken wing bill. I mean, stuff like this blows your mind. And then the newest iteration that I'm struggling with is time, where we have an amazing social media person who wants to do a video with all of our interns. Well, not only did they get the summer interns, which I was shocked that we have like 7, but we have some law clerks. They didn't differentiate the fact that these were people who were doing substantive work. And in the DMV, this would be like somebody in Manhattan pulling people from the Connecticut office, the Jersey office. They called it for 11 a.m. to do filming. That's essentially shooting the day. And this is a piece that we don't talk about that post-COVID. Before, you'd be like, okay, we'll do it from 9 to 10, 10:30, and then people go about they could go back to wherever they were. But the idea that the idea of commuting is, well, we don't want somebody to be in rush hour. So all of a sudden, literally this hour and a half shoot probably extracted a day's work from anybody not at the mothership where they could just go back to work. And that was just like figuring out money and, what is the best way to buy things. Figuring out the person doing it was like, I want to get the people there. I'll have time to set up. But there's no thought that, okay, what was the true cost of what will be a very nice social media post with our summer interns? And is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a challenge for us as law firm owners, is just recognizing that there's a cost to everything. It may be dollars out the door. It may be bandwidth. It may be time. It may be attention. But there is a cost, and there are multiple costs for everything that you encounter and everything that you want to try to do. And you really need to sort of prioritize and think through it. And I think, for you and me, 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was, I like it, let's do it. And part of the way that we have gotten to where we are is this bias towards action. But, taking a 15-foot speedboat is a lot easier to turn than a battleship, which is what we've built now.
100%. I'll give you a Blue Shark example. We've had great success in placing clients in the AI results. I don't know if it's making them any money, but they love it. We even have a product now that we sell for it. But we have an entire team link building. Some of that overlaps with the techniques to get in the AI results, but some of it doesn't. Some of it's not link building, it's mentions, which is a different skill set than link building. And all of a sudden, boom, there's a new skill set needed. And what I have found is that while you could go from within, but if everybody is flat out and doing something over and over again, which is awesome because that's what scales the business, when something new like this enters the vernacular into the market, it's recognizing that and bringing talent in that's fully focused on it especially when you're at scale, rather than pretending that your link builder is going to be able to, now short term, sure, and we've had that success. But if you want to, if this is the new normal and you want to be there consistently, the AI algorithm is going to change, right? And that figuring that out isn't a set it and forget it, and making sure that as it changes, because just like early link building or early content, when the things were changing and it was the Wild West, what's fascinating about the AI side that blows me, we could do another, blows my mind, is the fact that we are now without rules. Google had rules for us.
Right.
All of a sudden, there are no rules. And this is the piece that I find fascinating. I have a bunch of people who are ingrained, do no harm, build fast, but don't destroy. And now, since there's not a AI penalty, it's just what hits the algorithm and what doesn't. It's actually interesting that I see a struggle with our really talented link builders to adapt. And I've been using a different team almost, because those guys are focused on one thing, and that what is going to work now is almost like what you and I went through in the early days of link building. We're like, hey, let's try this and see what happens. Whereas right now, you don't really want to, like, our guys are great. Don't put links in spammy territory. It could move the needle, but we're playing the long game and don't want to see anything. Whereas here, you can, if you're willing to be aggressive right now, you can see some pretty cool results with AI.
Well, and that, I think, leads me to my next question, because most firms have a single website that they are promoting, that is their face. Most people don't have 2, 3, 4 websites because they put all their time and attention into
as they should, based on today's algorithm.
Right. But that's based on Google's algorithm and Google's market dominance, right? How can you do no harm for Google search, but also take chances on the same website for AI? Is it saying, look, I'm going to do content that is standardized content, I'm going to build my links, but I'll also try to get more mentions
I think that's the difference, which is, we talked about a linkless world. Google's been pushing for it for years. I think what I'm alluding to is it will be off-site, but not link building. It's going to be, how do I know Jay is great? They're not going to take that necessarily from the mothership website. It's going to be
they're looking for reviews,
beyond just reviews, but
So this week, or in the last 10 days, Google now announced pretty publicly that they're going to index Instagram, which they had not been doing before. Obviously, I think that is some of the, hey, let's look for the mentions. The social proof, so that they can, help their search responses, but also their AI product, Gemini.
Right.
And then we also have to worry about...
Given that it's a meta product, let's see how long that lasts.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could get shut down pretty quickly. But then remember, Chrome has such massive dominance in the browser industry. What's going to happen with some of these AI products like Perplexity putting out their own browser? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of lag time in full adoption, but Chrome got up there pretty quickly. Internet Explorer beat out Netscape.
Google has some chops to fight that off. I mean, that Gemini doesn't suck, and you're used to that. Getting people off that platform is going to take a bunch. Yes, the question is, Jay plays around with new stuff. Well, look, I knew Facebook made it when my mother-in-law got on, right? The question is, will my mother-in-law be moving off Chrome to Perplexity?
Right. Yeah, no, it's interesting. My mother needed a biography for a brochure that was going out at a dinner she was getting an award at. And she was like, I don't want to have to write this. I'm like, we don't need to write it. Give me your resume, give me your CV, because she was a teacher. She's done a bunch of things. I uploaded the CV, and I put a little bit of like where she was born and grew up and where she, you know, that type of thing, her family and us. And Claude wrote me out a 1-page bio that was out of the park. I mean, it was just phenomenal based on everything that we had. No hallucinations because we used the right prompting. And my mother's now like blown away by AI. She's like, I could have used this for so many years. This is amazing. I'm like, yeah, it really is.
Hey,
so like,
I want to close. I got a cool thing to share that
cool.
that I'm loving. My new favorite thing, my Meta glasses.
My nephew got them. Tell me about them.
So basically, and again, I'm new to it. I took it to Portugal. Buddy Jeff Phillips was using them when I was out in Salt Lake and really enjoyed them. Hey, Meta, take a photo. It takes the photo. It allows you. I do conference calls from it. I was at a pool bar, full on blasting music, speaking to somebody. They could not. I heard them perfectly. They heard me perfectly. No music on there that they
really
hear. It has translations in a number of languages. I think that's going to blow. That's going to blow out. But the piece that so photos, videos, you could use this or using a Hey Meta prompt. All of that works. It now has. This is now, and again, I'm sure Google will have its own set of glasses, as will Amazon and everybody else. But the piece that is, the fact that Meta can then give you information, whether what you're looking at, translations of what you're looking at, it is remarkable to the point where if this becomes a device that people are comfortable with, another threat to Google.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's, I think we're coming to a point where microprocessors are small enough. Cellular modems are small enough that they're going to be able to input this stuff into things like glasses. Obviously, the Apple Watch was one of the first things to have an internal GPS and cellular device. But I think we're starting to now. I don't necessarily need my refrigerator to be web enabled right now. I don't necessarily see the use case, but I can understand that some people like having all of their inventory known by their refrigerator.
You're not the regular person at the supermarket. So,
right.
So the person who would love to look at their phone. So I'll conclude with this. The flip side, and we've seen this already with our phones, our watches. In Portugal, somebody asked me about a restaurant CRM marketing platform, not my space. The next day, the Facebook ad started.
Really?
Yes. So this is like no search for it. It was a discussion. And the next day,
you're seeing ads
I'm seeing ads for it based on a conversation with glasses on. Scared.
So wait, so you can see through the glasses. Is there anything on the glasses, or are they just like normal sunglasses?
There are other products out there that teleprompters for like the TED Talk.
Yeah, like I was thinking about getting the ones that has the subtitles.
Right.
Because
So there's lots of cool stuff coming. This is just $300. Oakley's are slightly more. You can get them clear. But the point is, it's here. And at the $300 price point, just like when the iPad came out, and
it's a fun.
But meaning it became ubiquitous. I think that if I am to future predict what's going on, that some form of this will be the new normal, and that assume that as people hack how you can't tell whether it's being recorded, it's a light right now. But if you, that the world of having a conversation that is not being recorded is very limited at this point.
It's interesting to me, and I'll leave it with this. As a criminal defense lawyer, the ability to clone someone's voice is somewhat frightening in terms of situations where a complaining witness could fabricate off of videos or recorded audio a defendant's voice and leave a voicemail for them that violates a court order. And there's really, you're playing it on your phone. Look, they left me a voicemail. They tried to call me.
Right. And, I guess the only good thing is you still have to be able to prove it can't, it was, there's still like, yes, scary, like all this stuff, the political stuff, what you can make people say, the fact that I'm fluent in Spanish in my commercials now, is beyond scary. But I think like everything else, the courts hopefully will not jump to conclusions. They're going to have to take a pause. And I think we all do. I can tell you when I see something in the news, I immediately, take a moment to say, yes, that's salacious, but let's wait to see if it's true.
Let me ask you this. With the ability for voice cloning, I can remember for years we were getting that, hey, can you buy me some credit cards? I'm out of the office right now. Still getting them, right? So we instituted in our office a code word that if, Jay or Emily or somebody was asking for something, there was a code word that we would use so that if you got something and you're like,
right.
Yeah, I think we need to now put that a code word for if you get a voicemail from someone and it sounds like they're asking you to do something and you're not 100% right, you should make sure that they drop the code word in.
Look, I know my dad's law firm, not different division. I think got hit with one of those real estate scams with the checks, and that's why you have to nothing by email anymore.
Yep.
Oh, some law firm got hacked. I got their email. I knew it was a hack, but I sent something back because usually, on Facebook, if you go back to the person, they're like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't me." The hacker was still in and replied, "Oh, it's safe to open the attachment," which I didn't do, but scary stuff. So yes, I think that as the bad guys are ramping stuff up, I assume everybody listening to this is doing the 2-factor authentication. If you're not, get yourself on it. But even that, it's getting, and I watch the big boys. What are they doing? What levels are they requiring? And look, maybe for the next show, we'll just make a list of stuff for the next show. My IT guy is bringing me stuff like 1Password stuff. And each one, I'm already in the cloud with 2-factor authentication, but it's like, yeah, for another $20,000 a year, granted we're at scale, it's a lot less if you're not at scale, we can now have another layer of security. And it's, just like, you're like, F me. In one sense, I don't want the big break-in, but you keep getting these $20,000, or for me, $20,000 bills that,
it's a lot of money.
It adds up.
Yeah. And it hampers your ability to spend money on other things like other marketing or more teamwork, that type of thing. So it's one of those things that, or just pure profit. You're not be able to take it home.
Profit, and either that, or we got to figure out how to leverage AI, to be able to bring costs down. But, it's like, it giveth, it taketh away. You may save some time there, but if you're having to double down on security in a way, again, it just makes this stuff particularly scary.
Yeah, well, boy, this was a roller coaster of topics, Seth. This is what happens
from Wu-Tang to
from Wu-Tang to
meta glasses to cybersecurity.
So, okay, cool. So this is interesting. I'm going to look at those meta glasses. I don't like the idea.
Spend the $300, get a pair.
Yeah, but I have prescription lenses. Can I put prescription lenses?
I mean, it's another step, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then there you go. All right, cool. So let me check that out. Folks, that's going to do it for us this week on the Law Firm Blueprint. Of course, you can check us out wherever you want to go by taking us on the road with our Law Firm Blueprint podcast. Of course, if you're listening, be sure to give us 5 stars when you do so. Of course, you can also check us out live every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, live on LinkedIn and live in our Facebook group, the Law Firm Blueprint. Please join if you are listening. We'd love to have you. That's going to do it for me. I'm Jay Ruane. He is Seth Price. That's all for the Law Firm Blueprint. Bye for now.